All right, check 3. I should be coming in 3. You should be coming in 2.
2. Hello.
Ba, 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 ba.
Bah.
That looks like 1 to me.
Is that 1 or 2? What am I?
You're 2.
I'm 2.
Dose.
Dose.
Peace. Dose.
All right, let's get this over with. I'm kind of hungover.
Are you?
Hungover.
A little bit. I just can't do the sugar, okay? When I get drinks, I like to just do them. I've learned in my older years now
You're old.
that I like drinks that don't have all the sugar, because when it has the sugar, that's when you feel like shit, and then your next day sucks.
Right.
I'm not like the point where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to like stop the show and go throw up, but it's more just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's that
And
icky
it's
feeling.
only because they were so sugary. I just think if I'm gonna have a drink now, I want it to be on the rocks, or what do they call it? Clean?
On the
neat.
rocks is over ice.
Oh, just
Neat is nothing.
neat. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the rocks.
You
And
like the
then-
rocks.
Then you don't feel so bad. I didn't have many drinks. I really didn't.
How many drinks do you normally have? Like
1 too many.
Probably
1,
like,
2.
I don't know. At an event like that, I feel like it's always nice to have something in your hand, something to sip on, so you're not
I'm the
awkwardly
same.
like,
Yeah.
hi. It's more just like any time you feel awkward, because I'm naturally an introvert, you're just like,
Yeah, you've got
like,
something to
it's
do.
it's your comfort, right?
Yeah.
It's like your little shield.
Yeah.
That's
But-
right.
So I don't know. I think I had 3, maybe 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're going to muscle our way through this episode of Cracking the Copyright. We have a very special guest with us today.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name is Heleina Zara.
And what do you do?
I am a singer-songwriter actress.
She's badass. She's a triple threat. Do you dance too?
Kind of, but
She's a 2.5 threat.
yeah.
You know, Austin's a
take that.
dancer too. So
And a pilot.
yeah.
A dancer and a pilot.
I'm the farthest thing from a dancer. But I did act in my childhood and I am a pilot. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah. We have that connection because your dad's a pilot.
That's right. My dad is a pilot and my mom was, do you say air hostess here?
Stewardess?
Flight
attendant?
attendant.
Or flight
yeah.
I say flight attendant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would love to hear kind of,
I'll give
Where
you the
you came
whole
from,
rundown. Yeah.
then we're going to play your, unqualified, armchair therapist today
Okay.
and see if we can't get a killer concept out of our conversation.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Hong Kong. And I'm half Filipino, half Australian. My parents were in the airlines that was based out of Hong Kong. So I moved in and out of there quite a bit from like till the age of like 7, I'd say. And then I moved to Sydney, Australia, because that's where my dad's family is mostly. Yeah, and I've sort of been there ever since. I moved in and out of New South Wales and Victoria. They're 2 different states.
You guys have
Yeah.
6 states?
Don't ask me that.
We're looking at
Australia is
Oh my gosh.
failing on their history or geography
it's
classes,
just,
I should
I'm
say.
terrible with
Wait, what age did you end
Holding-
up there?
10. I was 10.
Oh yeah, so you should know.
I really should know.
You should know. How
So
many
there's New
states does
South
America
Wales.
have?
50?
How do you know that, but not Australia? How many states is it? Is it 5 or 6?
So there's AIC, ACT, New South Wales, VIC. I don't know why I'm
6.
saying that.
I was right.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
And my
So we're
favorite one
complete-
is Uluru.
Uluru is not a state.
It's not a state.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
It's the most badass part of that whole country.
Yeah, but it's
yeah,
not a state.
but it's not a state.
It's a part. It's like
It is to me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go there and
I-
declare it a state, just like they did in the olden days.
Okay.
That's a bad idea. Don't.
We don't want you here.
My God. Well, it is a sacred area, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's
yeah.
super
Oh
sacred.
yeah,
Yeah.
So-
I would not. I'm not like gonna make it New York City. I'm gonna bring up the traditions. I just want to make it more of like the best place in the world to see the stars.
I mean, it
Well,
is.
it already is.
There should be an star.
To do a
Hopefully the
little
compressor got
ASMR.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. But anyway, so you're raised all around the world, but mainly in
Sure.
Australia.
Yeah. Now I am. Yeah.
And then fast forward a bunch of years, somehow you got into music and you signed to Universal.
Yep. Australia. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Swag
Hell
City.
Very sick.
What did you
Record
say?
di- Swag City.
Swag.
Yeah.
We
the
just
record
worked-
deal is the goal.
The record deal sets your foundation
Yeah.
to achieve what you really want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is to create music that people are inspired by
Yep.
and will listen to and has, generally a mass appeal so everybody
Yeah.
can connect with what you're trying to
Yeah.
evoke. We wrote a really cool song with you yesterday.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So that one's super dope. And I just hope we can find a concept today that is as real and as impactful as yesterday's concept.
Okay. We can do that.
Yeah.
Easy.
So, I mean, we always believe that a song starts with a seed of truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest way to find that seed of truth is to kind of just steer a conversation in a bunch of directions
Yeah.
and just see what from your
What sticks?
life
Yeah.
sticks. And
Yeah.
obviously we then can expand upon it and, pull in a narrative that might not always be real like we did yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's what felt real.
It's a fragment of the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that enables people to connect to it because it is rooted in truth.
Yeah.
So that's what
I'm
we're here to do
excited.
today for
Yeah.
the next little bit. And hopefully we can end up
Sweet.
this episode with something really cool
Yeah.
to go write about.
Okay.
We did it with Aiden, who's a label mate of yours, and we
Yep.
ended up with such a dope song.
You want to know what Aiden said on the show?
What did he say?
Aiden goes, "Yeah, I'll probably die at 40."
Oh my gosh.
And we both sat there like,
Actually, that's so funny because I actually can't see my life past like late 20s.
I kinda
don't
feel
know
that
what
too.
that looks like. And it freaks me out, but at the same time, it doesn't. Like, it's just, I don't know what happens then.
something's in the water out there. I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, but I also think it's the creative industry. It's so hard to know where your career is going to be, and so many people's
Right, of
lives are
course.
based off the trajectory of their career. It's like I'm going to get this promotion, then at 33 I'll have my kid because I'll have the money to do it at this and
Yeah.
that and the other thing.
I think what throws me off is like, people say, so what's your 5-year plan?
Hopefully to sell out fucking arenas.
Yeah,
well, but
for
the
sure.
5-year
But,
plan is very applicable in other industries
oh,
and
for
other
sure.
careers.
For sure.
We just can't. We don't know.
Yeah.
We could have the
That's
biggest
the
hit.
thing.
We don't
like-
even have a 5-day plan.
Yeah,
We could write the biggest hit today that could change all of our lives in the next 6 months, and then
exactly.
my 5-year plan looks a lot different than it did,
Right.
like
5 minutes
yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
So what was it like moving so much, going back and forth as a kid? Not to cut you off, but obviously
no,
I
it's
want to
okay.
get to some tea, some juice.
Some tea.
What was it like, living in so many different places? Was it hard to maintain friendships, relationships?
I mean, definitely. I feel like that's what like drew me. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah, to like the entertainment, because I lacked connection and lacked like stable friendships. So growing up, I'd always like love all the, Disney movies with like, best friends for life. And, you go over like they're right next door and you watch movies and you grow up with them and go through all these little milestones and all that stuff. And I don't know. I
didn't
never
have
had
that?
that. No. And yeah,
Is that pretty hard?
I mean, it's all I know. So it's hard
That's
to
true.
compare
Right.
to, what it would be like.
Yeah.
I mean, I've thought about it, obviously, but
Well, that's how I feel when people say, "Do you hate being an only child?" I'm like,
right, yeah,
"What do you mean? Do I hate it? I don't."
because
Like,
they don't know.
and they're like, "Do you wish you had a sibling?" I'm like, I mean, I'll try it. I don't know. How do I know? How are you supposed to know?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's an
Yeah.
interesting comparison.
Yeah, and I think that's like my approach with my music, at least, that because I lack that connection, I want to somehow bring out that sense of friendship and
community?
connection. Yeah, and community through music. So whatever I write, I want people to be like, oh my God, like I want to be friends with you.
Well, it's
I
very
don't know.
interesting because for those of our listeners that don't know, I did study at NYU, and I studied music business and songwriting, and I had a few unbelievable mentors, one of which was this man named Phil Galdston. He wrote like Save the Best for Last
Okay.
for Vanessa Williams and had,
Right.
a bunch of hits. And he asked on the first day of, I think it was Symposium, he was like, what is music? And everybody's given all these millions of answers. And he's like, nobody said the right answer. It's communication.
Yeah.
That's what music is. It's another language which we all can communicate with.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's a little deeper than just normal communication because you can evoke emotion from it too. And so I think it really does bring about a sense of community that
For sure.
oftentimes, I mean, yes, there are things like Harry Potter, right? Everybody feels like a community with that.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But everybody can be in this one singular moment at a concert, right? And everybody's feeling such a unique experience solely to them, but at the same time as part of
It's
this general massive moment.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we try to do every day here. And that starts with just honesty and truth and being true to you. Like yesterday we were writing and you were like, this chorus doesn't feel like me. And we were like, all right, let's approach it a different way. And now it feels like you.
Yeah. I also I've found over the years of like moving around a lot, people were hesitant to open up. And I'm not sure if it was because I was always the new girl in town. They'd be like, oh, what gives her the right to know everything about me? So yeah, like with my music, I try to be as truthful and honest as I can. But I am learning to also play with the idea of like, the seed of truth, like you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 100% your life.
No.
But if there's a moment that connects, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then it has a sincerity to it that we're storytellers in the end.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
whatever is going to evoke the emotion we're trying to get across.
Yeah.
If we've got to embellish the truth or we've got to subdue certain parts so it doesn't hit so hard. That's okay,
Yeah.
So you're based in Australia and you've been there for 11 years.
Has it been 11 years now? Oh my God. That's really freaky.
You're 21.
Yeah, that even feels weird to hear.
I know.
And I'm also like hesitating or like stuttering to speak. It's because like in my head, I'm like, do I speak in my Australian accent or do I speak in this accent? So I believe at least that this is my original accent. Because born and raised in Hong Kong, I went to an international school. So there's that like little mix of, of everything. But yeah.
I kind of feel like I was molded a similar way where I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I don't think I sound like it. I don't
Minnesota.
know.
Don't you know? No, that's more like North Dakota.
I don't have the cliche whatever.
Yeah.
And then I go to New York and now I'm in LA. So I feel like I have that, the influx from all these different places.
Yeah.
But so now
I'm in Sydney.
And after being in Australia, you've been fairly rooted, right? So have you jumped around there too?
I mean, through high school, we moved quite a lot. We spent the first 7 years by the beach in a place called Cronulla, the Sutherland Shire.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. And then midway through high school, we moved like closer to the city. And then towards the end, my brother went to boarding school at that point. So they decided to move to like the snowy mountains in a different state. And I was like, well, I've got like 1.5 years to go to finish high school.
Right.
So I need to stay here. And I think my mom and I got like a studio apartment and just finished the rest of high school. And then she left and then I stayed in Sydney. So
were you able, throughout those years, to find that sense of connection a little bit?
Or groundedness?
Kind of. I think groundedness in like the comfort of being just with myself, like being independent.
So you feel secure and rooted, but it's in yourself, not in your friends and family. It's more in yourself.
It fluctuates because now I'm like, I don't even know who I am at this point. So it's like, it's kind of scary to say that like, oh, I'm like 100% confident in being by myself. But now I think maybe because of the pandemic, I don't know where I am. But the
How does
sense of
that play into your music? Sorry to
no, that's okay.
like you have a single coming out that'll be called Cardboard.
And so that like talks about, you know, moving around a lot and never really having a place to call home.
And all your shit's in cardboard.
Yeah.
So it clearly affects your music.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think it's important to tell my story because there are a lot of people who move around a lot and not the life that I always watched as a kid, to like just stay in one place your entire life and have everything work out for you, and never on the go. Sorry, what was your question before?
Well, no, you answered. I just think fortunately now though, especially being done with school.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're an adult out doing adult things. So you could get to a point now where you can dictate how that looks going forward. Because I know people that had the exact opposite life that you had growing up. One house, one family, one school district, same friends. And some of those people wanted that change. They wanted that travel. So they've since like packed up their stuff and they're literally have been traveling the world for like years on end.
Yeah.
Never being in the same place for too long. So I think there's people that have that other side and then still crave the other and then just go off.
Yeah.
Whereas you now could have had all that kind of moving around experience. Now you could, I mean, you could end up in a place in Australia. You could end up in like LA. You could essentially set yourself up to have consistency.
Right.
Except in music, a lot of it's not consistent. So
yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like it's so deeply rooted in me that I am so like on the move.
So you think you'd even be uncomfortable being in a place too long?
Yeah. I think that's what's happening.
I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you need to be on a tour bus.
Oh, wait. I feel like that would also freak me out a little bit. Because then I'm like, well, then what am I? I don't know. I guess it's navigating through.
Yeah. Well, you're navigating through your young 20s. That's life.
That's right.
Have you had any relationships?
Yes. Honestly, I don't even know. I'm in this weird headspace where I'm like, I feel like I should be in a relationship. But then again, I am only like 21, which is ridiculous to say I need to be in a relationship. But I noticed like a couple months ago at like family events, friend like hangouts, I'd be the only girl, at least in my family, I think, if I'm correct, that isn't in a relationship. And, you know, you get the questions like, so Helena, are you seeing anyone? Are you dating anyone? You know, what are you doing with your life? And I'm like,
why does that have to be a definition of your life though?
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
You meet someone and when it's right, you do it, but you don't go into a relationship thinking, oh, I need to find someone.
That's it.
Because we've all known people that do that.
No, I don't want to do that.
Well.
Yeah, that's right. And so...
But there's also an element to, and it's not to say force a relationship. I think there's an element to
putting yourself out there.
Experiencing different people.
Yeah.
And being able to figure out who and what you truly want in the end.
Yeah.
And I think it's important because then when you do meet kind of the right person, you're more ready for it and you know they're the right person.
Yeah.
Because you've been
through
the
trials and tribulations.
Right. And you've kind of figured out like, you know, you've been through certain things. You're like, instantly that'll be a red flag when you meet someone.
Yeah.
So I guess there's elements to both sides, but not to the point where you're like, I need a boyfriend now. I don't care who it is, or, you know, I need a partner now. It doesn't matter who they are because that's not going to, you know, that's not.
No.
Right?
No.
What's that going to lead to?
The thing with that, it's like my manager was saying, so you're not dating anyone? I was like, I don't think I have the interest to even like, and is that weird? Is that weird to like not even?
No. I mean, our roommate,
I feel like
our roommate literally is like, I'm going to be single till I'm 80.
I don't think he says that, but 40. He does say 40.
No,
40?
he told me 80 one time. When
Really?
he came home mad because the girl, like...
Oh, you mean when she like picked a really fancy restaurant because he was hungry and she was like, I don't really want to eat, and then she ordered a $120 item on the menu? Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's the night he came home and said, screw it, I'm single till I'm 80.
Okay, fair. I would do the same. That's ridiculous. Okay, I don't even want to get into that because I'll get too angry.
Modern dating culture. Let's talk about it.
I hate it.
Oh, you're not scrolling?
No. I think I said to you guys yesterday that I really love 50s music because like my grandparents would always play it, and that is my perception of love, or at least like something that I'd like to achieve.
Yeah.
But it's so
Perception
hard
of
now.
love's kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, like with social media, it's weird, and hookup
What's the
culture.
weirdest date you've been on?
Um,
Or the worst? You can omit names.
no, I'm not gonna do that.
Oh, you're gonna tell us the names?
No.
I was saying omit them. Don't tell them.
Omit them.
Not like share the names. Don't tell us the names.
Yeah.
but
First,
give
last, social, Instagram
Everything.
handle.
I actually don't know if I've been on a bad date. There might have been. No, I don't think I've been on a bad date. Actually, I don't think I've actually been on a proper date. There we go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Like, what
'cause
defines a date?
It'd be pretty crazy to not have a bad date.
What defines a
What
date?
defines a date?
An intention to go out with another person,
See, that's the thing
seeking a romantic interest.
Well, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
even
know.
like
with...
my current girlfriend, our first date was when we met up. She thought I was just trying to find new friends that also lived in LA.
Right. So you would classify that as a date then?
Well, it's kind of like,
retrospectively,
I guess, right. In hindsight, it is a first date, but it's more like a first time meeting. I don't know. It's
you know what I mean?
It's strange.
Yeah, but your first date with Morgan was formed like where you would consider the romantic tension was the movie, right? When you put your arm around her.
Yeah, but we went in that movie, and I guess the first time I put my arm around her, that's when she was like, "Oh,
okay,
he doesn't
I see.
just want to be friends."
Yeah.
So even going into that one,
She thought, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how.
Oh, it worked out okay.
Yeah, but it's just like
the two of you just had different perceptions of what was going
I know
on.
Right.
it's funny. So I don't know how to classify date. Let's see what
Perceptions
Google
of
says.
love. I don't know.
I want to see what Google says. I'm very curious now.
Well, but see, you had different perceptions. So I'm just saying. I'm not trying to push this concept here, but
Yeah. I think that's...
A date is a specific time that can be named, for example, a particular day or a particular year. Very helpful.
as a romantic date. but
romantic date.
Okay, this is better. This is more
Okay.
like personable, less Webster dictionary. So the story is it a date or hanging out? Survey reflects confusion. Just like we're confused currently. Although 80% agree that a date is a planned one-on-one hangout, almost 1/4 also think it is a planned evening with a group of friends, and 22% agree that if they ask me out, it's a date.
So
I was pretty close, though.
No, yeah, but no one really knows what a
She's like, no, you weren't
date.
close at all.
Well, no, you were, but I'm saying, I think that's what's happening with like modern day dating is that they just say, hey, do you want to hang? And it's like, I don't know whether that means...
Right, because it feels less
Like,
intense than being like, can I take you to dinner?
Right. But I think I'd rather someone straight up
Be
so
more
I know what
forward,
I'm
more
going into.
formal.
Because I've been on like a date. We went and saw a movie, but it was just like as friends, I think. I'm not even sure.
Right.
And then at the end, or no, we met up again like the next day or in a couple days. And he was like, hey, was the last time we hung out, was that a date? I was like, wait, why? Was it? Because I need to know what I'm getting into. Like, I'm the kind of person to be like, can you tell me if this is a date?
Right.
Or whether I'm just going to treat you like a friend. Otherwise, I just need to know. Am I making any sense?
I do believe
Okay.
men and women can be friends. I have
Oh,
friends that
100%.
are of the opposite gender. But I feel like you do set that boundary up pretty much right off the top if it's gonna be friends.
Which is tough too, because some really strong friendships turn into relationships. I mean, it's
True.
messy, right? There's
Yeah.
I don't think there is defined things. So I guess essentially it's more just like, I don't even know how to put it then if we're not going to say date, but what's your experience with relationships, I guess, whether it be friendships, whether it be romantic, whether it be family, like what defines you now, like in your current state of mind, in your day-to-day life, kind of what do you pull from when it comes from that, like relationship as a general term?
That's really broad.
I mean, just like what influences you, like what do you pull from when you're writing that is from based on relationships and things like that? Because usually it's the common like, oh, are you dating anyone? Are you seeing anyone?
Right.
So I'm trying to bring that broader to fit your scope more, since you know you're not necessarily focused on dating and all that. So just kind of like extend that to different friendships or things like that.
Or is your love still based, like your love idea still based on the fairy tales of Disney and like?
Yes and no.
Kind of like that Salim Elise mad at Disney vibe.
Yeah, that's right. I think it comes down to like genuine raw connection. Like it's like an internal feeling like, oh yeah, we get each other.
Yeah.
Like it's unspoken is what I pull out from meaningful.
Unspoken's a cool concept title as well.
I mean, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
That is a good way to put it for sure.
Yeah.
That's my job though, to point out the concept for a second and then we keep going.
Okay. Unspoken.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just collecting it, like perception of love, unspoken.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. Is there anything that's been, bothering you recently?
I mean, on the topic of like love and relationships, I don't know if I've like actually fallen for someone or like fallen in love. Like people have told me, Helena, I don't think you've actually been in love.
How can somebody else say that about you?
Right?
That's the thing. I know. I was like, oh, okay. So all that pain I just went through, what would you call that? Like,
right.
Just, I don't know. So little backstory.
Sorry for the background noise. There's definitely like a police chase going on in our neighborhood
100%.
right now.
Welcome to LA.
Oh my God. What?
That is without a doubt a police chopper circling our neighborhood. 100%.
My heart is racing. I'm not even joking. That's not is this normal?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it happens all the time.
Holy crap.
It's usually just on the highways. There's people that do it all the time. It's not like they're rolling down our street right now.
Right. I was gonna
No.
What was I saying?
Backstory.
Backstory. Right. I fell for someone who didn't exist online. I've never met this person. Yeah, there. I said it. Yeah, you're just looking at me. I feel
No, it's not that crazy.
That's not that crazy. Catfish exists for a reason, but like let's talk about it.
Okay, to be fair, I don't think this person was catfishing. How it happened was there was this platform called YouNow. I think it was like 18 at this point, out of high school. So I was living on my own in a studio apartment. And so I was just like playing covers on my ukulele or singing originals, things, just to get that confidence up. And there was this user that came online and he was like, oh my gosh, your voice. And like, I don't know, he just said like a bunch of stuff that I thought he saw me, or at least, I thought he did.
Yeah.
And at the time I was going through a lot of like mental health stuff. So it was hard for me to communicate everything, all the mess that was happening internally.
Sure.
And he was able to like thread it all out and like make it make sense, make my chaos make sense. And I was like, oh wow, that is amazing. And I was like, oh, like, is this rare? And so I spiral into this, hopeless romantic, like, oh my gosh, it's now like saying it out loud. I feel stupid.
You shouldn't feel stupid.
When you're in something like that, I think it's happened to all of us where you literally have the hopeless romantic and you kind of fall for something, whether you're coming off of a breakup or whether you're like, it happened to me for sure, where you just fall into something and you almost go through the secondary breakup because you just completely never built yourself back up after like a serious relationship. You don't take the time to heal.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a rebound, right?
Yeah.
At least coming off a breakup, not in your situation.
Yeah.
And so I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
And you create this entire fantasy in this world.
Yep. Fragment of my imagination.
Just based on someone communicating, or even just like someone who's listening and being there for you in a time where you're so vulnerable and you're going through such mental chaos.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's crazy at all.
Yeah.
So then what ended up happening?
I mean, we talked a lot, so I feel like we really just connected on like a soul level. Did that candle just go out on its... That's creepy.
Ghost.
It's Friday the 13th, by the way. I thought I should mention that. It is, right?
Yeah, it is. But I think it just ran. I think it just ran out because that one's been burning for quite a while. We've had that.
Hey, but
is that the whiskey one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's. We've had that for a long time. It was due to run out.
I thought it was a ghost.
But
anyway, it would have been cooler.
Happy Friday the 13th. I did not know that. That makes me excited.
Yeah.
We welcome all ghosts into the space.
Yes.
Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's
continue.
Cool. I thought something would. Yeah.
I'll pass. I respect if there's, ghosts doing their thing, but like, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. It's all good. We can coexist.
I feel like you're scared. You're giving scared vibes.
Oh, no, I'm not scared. I just don't want to deal with it. It's like, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. It's all good.
Okay.
Okay.
I got my life. They got their life, or not life. It's all chill. It's just like, you stay in ghost land, go on your ghost dates.
Land.
I'll stay in real world, go on my real dates. It's all good.
Right. Yeah. What were we talking about? Sorry.
What this turned into.
Oh.
There's a haze in the room because of this candle.
Oh my God. That is the ghost. Like floating right
haze?
There. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like a ghost to me. Honestly, I don't even know. Like, it's now such a blur to me. I think because I really made it into something that it wasn't, and now I'm questioning everything. But a couple months into whatever it was, like, it was really intense. It was like, oh, like, I've never felt this way for you before. Like, maybe that should have been like the red flag.
Was it just on chat, or was it like...
No, like FaceTime, like we gotten to that point of like meeting.
Oh, she
like,
saw this person's face.
Yeah, no, of course. And I like met a couple of his friends on FaceTime, and yeah, so it was like at that level, but I never met this person in the physical.
Because what is YouNow?
YouNow is a streaming platform. So like, it's like you go live.
So like a TikTok or
like a TikTok or like, yeah. Anyway. And yeah, a couple months into it, like it was really fast. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I've never said I love you to anyone before. So this is weird telling someone that you love them when you haven't actually met them in person.
Sure.
Takes a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah. So I struggled. He was the first one to say, like, I love you. And I told him, I was like, hey, like, I don't. And he was like, no, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, maybe that's a good thing that he's like, okay with it. Anyway, a couple months into it, I don't know, it just felt like nothing, it wasn't going anywhere.
Wasn't progressing.
It wasn't progressing.
Was he based near you?
No, America. I forgot to mention that.
The States. He's from the States.
Yeah, from
He's
the
not
States.
From down under.
No, my Australian accent is now present, and it's gone. Yeah.
Well, crikey, maybe we can bring it back.
Wow.
No. I'm
She's
trying
like, I
so
will
hard.
not. I'm trying
No.
so hard to not have my Australian
Actually,
accent.
if you want me to speak in my Australian accent, I can.
Yeah, bring
Well,
it
I think
out
at
for a
this
sec.
point.
Okay, so
There we go.
is that okay?
Hey, my
Okay,
Siri is
so-
Australian.
I've noticed everyone around here. Well, most people that I've met,
Mine's
like Ubers.
English.
Oh, English. Sorry.
It's just so much prettier than
Prettier?
American.
An American.
It's
I
just
feel like-
easy on the ears.
Easy on the ears? Wow. People in Australia, I feel like, hate the Australian accent.
We had the exact same combo with Aiden.
Hmm.
He thought the same thing. And
Yeah.
they're all like, oh, they like American accent. We're
Prettier.
like, what?
Okay.
No.
So I will be speaking in my Australian accent then. Can you
Okay.
understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
sweet. Sorry
What-
to everyone listening. They're like, who is this person?
Yes.
Yeah, I felt like nothing was moving forward. And so I think that's rooted from always constantly moving and having constant change. So I was like, why isn't this going anywhere?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I was living on my own. I felt like nothing was happening. I was just doing like a part-time job. And yeah. And so I tried ending things with him, even though like I felt like the connection was super strong, just because I wanted to focus on, music and acting and everything else. But that was really hard. Really hard.
Because you're craving connection.
Yeah.
And then to have it and then realize, like this isn't really feasible. Because I mean, you're what? You said 18.
18. Yeah.
It's not, I don't even know if you call this a long distance relationship. This is like what's bigger than a long distance relationship? Like it's
A transcontinental
literally
relationship.
like
Whoa.
it's like you could be on the moon. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so to lose that would be just, I don't even know. I don't even know what that would feel like.
I think what sort of gets me sometimes is that his mom used to say, oh, she's just using you for the time being, like to pass the time. And I was like,
Interesting.
what? And that hurt because
How
I
does
was like,
his
that
mom
is
have
so.
any like base to stand on?
I don't know.
Well, she doesn't, but even like,
Still hurts.
it's like comments like that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh,
Something to
that's
write about in
not
this
how
little
I
thing,
feel
too.
about you. Like, that's not at all. And because I struggled in communicating, like, to perfectly articulate the most intense emotions to him,
yeah.
I was like, that's definitely not how I feel. Like, I'm not just like talking to someone across the world to pass the time.
Right.
Like, what? I don't know. Yeah, sorry. Back to me trying to end things just because I just didn't know what was happening. He didn't take it well. And so there was a lot of resistance and it hurt. Like, I was like, oh my God, why am I doing this to this person? Like, why am I hurting this person? Like, this was never my intention.
Yeah.
I thought at this point, like, we would see each other. Yeah, it was just like really hard. And then we tried making it work. And then another month went by and I was actually in a session with a girl who was kind of going through the same thing, like debating whether to finally end things with their significant other at the time. And we finished a song. It was, I think, the confidence that I needed. So after that session, I called him and ended things.
Wow.
It was the worst heartbreak of my life.
Hey, if it felt
Because
real,
it
then
felt
fuck
super
what everybody
real.
else said. You had a
Like-
heartbreak.
Yeah. How can you not call that?
I don't know. I'm getting emotional even speaking about it.
Well,
Because-
yeah. I mean, I remember these feelings. It's like you are not, I mean, this was relatively recent. And so like
Yeah.
when I was in New York, I came off of, I mean, I don't want to keep telling the story over and over on this
See,
show.
that's the thing. I feel like
just
I'm
so you
always
know-
talking about the same.
So we should
Well, I know-
write about it to let it out.
But that's the thing. The last song I wrote about him, I said it was like a song called About You. And I say not about you, like it's time for me to stop writing about you. But here I am speaking about this person again.
Sometimes the
It's
heart
like,
holds
oh my
on just a
Lord.
little bit longer.
I totally know how you feel because for years after, I could still like think about it and it would still affect me to the point where like
you'd feel sick.
Like it feels like claws into you.
Yeah.
Like you have the nauseous thing.
Yeah.
Austin went through some
I'm
crazy
nauseous
shit.
right now.
Right.
Like,
we all
hearing you talk about it makes me nauseous.
Yes.
Yeah, you can feel
That's
it.
what
I'm
it
sorry.
is. So
No, but
I also need to stop apologizing, but
you do need to stop apologizing because you have no reason to be sorry about the life you've lived and what you're going through, and that's okay to not be okay sometimes. Like
you're gonna make me cry.
Well, that's why we should write about this real rawness, because if it's connecting to both of us, it's gonna connect to people.
Yeah. Okay.
And look,
and then I'm gonna be exhausted.
You could be Olivia Rodrigo and write an album, probably a whole second album that's going to be coming out about the same guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Anyway, after successfully, barely, ending things with this guy, I think maybe another month went by and he was still like, hey, like, if you want to get back together, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know, it was always like I'll still care for you and love you and all this stuff. And then I was like second guessing myself. I was like, oh shit, have I just made the worst decision of my life? Because that connection, I don't think I have with, like, I haven't met anyone else that tops that, where I'm hoping so.
You will.
Okay.
Once you're ready for it.
That's right.
The world will open up its possibilities to you. And then when you're not looking for it, it'll find you.
See, I know that. I think now, though, I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm doing all this stuff on my own and, you know, like focusing on myself. But now it's like the interest of dating, like we said in the beginning of this podcast, doesn't even like.
Good. It doesn't have to.
So am I like, okay?
Yes, because I think that's actually you're in a completely non-vulnerable position right now.
Yeah.
No one can come in and like mess your shit up just by like, I don't know, a random text one day, like, hey, I'm doubting things. I'm not feeling this anymore. You have none of that risk right now. You're you're bulletproof right now. You can go every day and like barring family and friends and in crazy things.
Yeah.
But just the normal like relationship stuff, you have no vulnerability right now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a very cool position to be in, especially at your age and especially diving head into music. You have nothing holding you back. You're totally like, boom, I'm on. You have nothing to worry about. And what that does for dating is when you do encounter someone where you're like, oh, this guy just kind of broke down all those walls. Then you're like, oh shit. And that will be an even more intense and strong connection because you're not looking for it and you have your walls up. You're like, I'm not interested in dating.
Yeah.
So then when you meet someone, you're not swiping on an app like, I need to meet someone. When you meet someone in a super organic way, that all of a sudden you're like,
it could be an app. Like if you're ready for it, it could be an app.
I'm saying, But I'm saying from that mindset, when one of those walls falls and you're like, wait, I kind of like this vibe. I kind of like what's happening. It's going to be so real and and such a strong connection.
Okay.
So I think you're actually in a very perfect spot.
Well, and also what you'll realize is when you're so self-confident in yourself, you'll realize that somebody needs to add value and not take away value.
Yep.
And if they're taking away value, honey, they ain't the one for you.
They ain't
That's
the one
all I'm
for
gonna
you.
say.
No, like I know that. I think what
still doesn't make it hurt less. But
yeah, that's right. I think now it's also like, well, then what do I write about? You know what I mean?
Well, I still go back and write about things that happened when I was 14. I write about,
well, that's the thing.
My parents getting divorced at 12, like that.
Right.
Like maybe not directly like, oh, my parents got a divorce and my house got split up, but those feelings that I can very much tap into, much like you do when you're acting.
Yeah.
Because you have to make yourself part of that character all the time.
Yeah.
Those moments of honesty within yourself, I tap into that when somebody's going through a divorce and we're writing about, them rediscovering themselves and, the uncertainty and all that. I go back to my breakups. I go back to my best days on great songs when we're writing a happy song.
Yeah.
I go back to the day that like Justin and I played a sold out Irving Plaza. I'm like, that's an amazing feeling. You're like, oh my God, that high, I could ride that all day. And you write about that. Like,
yeah, I think what I'm realizing is that there's so much more than like love. I mean, there's love everywhere, but like in terms of like a romantic relationship, like there's life.
It doesn't have to define a life.
That's right.
Oh, it shouldn't define your life. It should be a part of your life. It shouldn't be your whole life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think the strongest, healthiest people are people that love what they do every day for a living.
Yep.
Pursue their passions and hobbies when they can on the side, and have somebody in a parallel line with them that wants the same things and can be a great partner in the end.
Yeah.
You know, because the love, yes, love is important, but love will only grow as you're spending more time with the person, as you're, you know, enjoying shared experiences together. Like, I love Justin obviously in a platonic way, but it's like, the more we create together, the more we work together, the more exciting opportunities that happen. My heart grows larger for him. In terms of like, you know, I couldn't see myself doing this music thing with anybody else.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we met 10 years ago, we couldn't have said that at all.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's what it is also, is finding someone that can support me and doesn't feel intimidated by what I love to do.
Yeah.
Because that's, I think, also what came down to the whole breakup with this person.
Yeah.
Is that he'd always say like, oh, you have so much going for you. Like, I don't have anything. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And I just felt like crap. And I'm like, no, you have so much
to offer. You can't be doing that all the time.
Offer.
You can't be throwing the pity party and trying to bring somebody down to your level. You've always got to be trying to excel up to, you know, higher levels. Like, what we always try to do is Justin and I try to be the worst two writers and producers in the room, because then it forces us to get better. I watched a movie last night, Burnt. Not a great movie. Bradley Cooper movie. Not a great movie.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
But one of the scenes was like, the one chef that with the 3 Michelin star restaurant was like, and because Bradley Cooper was spinning out, and he was like, we need you. We need you. Because you're the best of us, and it makes all of us better.
Yeah.
You know? And so you need to find people that elevate you.
That's right. It's like the people you surround yourself with. That's who,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot we could write about here for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, just the fact that you're unsure of what love is supposed to feel like now.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like the one thing I was taken out of listening, obviously I talk a lot, but I try to be an active listener. I work on it every day. But yeah, it was like the uncertainty and the, you know, you're like, I don't know, have I been in love? I don't know. And then you let other people start doubting, have you been in love? Like, nobody can decide that but you.
I was never in love in the first place.
Right. Nobody can decide that but you. If it was real to you and it was real, then it was love. Like, only you know what love is to you.
Yeah. I think what also gets me is that, like, I don't want him to think, like, I think he's in a relationship now, so I guess it doesn't really matter at this point in his life, but I don't want him to think that, like, it never meant anything, or like it wasn't real. But like you said yesterday, I should stop caring about what people think and really just
with a certain lens on it. I think you can care, but you can't let it affect you.
Yeah.
Like, I care what my family thinks. I care what my friends think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I care what my peers think of me because I want to be somebody that is seen in a positive light.
Yeah.
Do I care when somebody hates the stuff we submitted and it's not, you know, pitchable? No, not anymore. I used to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like haters, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we were in
Haters
yesterday.
gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate.
Potatoes
Well, it's just
gonna
like
potate.
people with there's no credibility to so much of the stuff that I think we spend too much time on and we take too much consideration with.
Right.
It's just like it's coming from a baseless, oftentimes like a person that doesn't really exist on the internet commenting on shit. Like,
yeah.
But it can get under your skin.
It's hard to not let it affect you. But at the end of the day, you've got to be just aware that people are going to do what they're going to do because they're trying to either pull you down a peg because it makes them feel better, or they want to be at your level and they're jealous and envious of what you're doing, or they've got nothing better to do. But you're not going to give the people that have nothing better to do your time. There's, of the 7 billion people in the world, there's so many good people. And you know what? Truthfully, I believe there's 7 billion good people, because if those people that are doing this to you had it done to them, they would realize what they're doing. I think a lot of them don't realize the hurt they cause because they're not in a position where they've experienced it.
Right.
I think if people experienced it, it would be different. So, you know, I do believe that there will be love for you. Somebody out there is going to be beyond the moon ecstatic about being with you and being your partner. And I also believe that doesn't have to happen tomorrow. It doesn't have to happen at 30. It doesn't have to happen at 40. It could happen at 50. One of my cousins found her real love of her life, and she's now like 56? Wow, and she found him 3-4 years ago. I've never seen her so happy. They have a dog. Everything's great. Took 50 years. You know what? But those 50 years of waiting are so worth it. So worth it.
Yeah.
I'm scared to talk because I don't want to follow that up. So I think let's move into the writing phase. Okay. And to our listeners, please go follow Helena.
What
are your socials?
It's HeleinaZara. Heleina Zara.
Z is a Z for those of you.
Z. That's right.
Yes.
Z.
So,
sometimes I do say Z, and then I'm like, whoa, wait. Who am I? I go through this spiral.
That's funny. But I guess until next week, everyone have a good week. And we'll see you next one.
Go bug her and her team for the song that we're about to write, which is going to be a smash.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thanks for having me, guys.